talk about my other favorite thing to do. That's to fish shallow smallmouth. Like everybody obviously fishes them shallow in the spring and whatnot. I'm going to focus mostly on the summertime, but just take a good look at like what's going on in this picture. Those are your ideal conditions. A lot of people think that's the time to fish deep, where it's calm, slick, and sunny. That's the best time in the summer to fish for smallmouth up shallow, 6 foot or less, something like that. Like largemouth fishing, those are kind of the better conditions for fishing deep. And if you get some weather, some clouds, some wind, some low light conditions, that's probably when you'd want to fish, more shallow, aggressively. It's vice versa for smallmouth. So if I'm going to get a windy day where it's cloudy, rainy, I'm going to want to fish deep. I don't want to be shallow at all. They're purely a visual predator. And when conditions get like this, they can see extremely well up shallow. Well, anywhere really, but they'll take a big advantage of that. Approaching shallow water smallmouth, obviously you should always wear sunglasses regardless, just chance of getting a hook in your eye anyways, but I always have them on. I do everything to let me see as good as I possibly can. The better you can see, the more fish you're going to catch, plain and simple, when you're up fishing for these shallow smallies. I always wear a hat. I see people fishing without hats on. One, you look ridiculous, and two, you can't see as good because you got sunblock, not as block. I always wear a hood. I mean, it might be hot, it might be a little uncomfortable, but I always keep a hood on. I'm blocking out as much sun as I possibly can. The darker it is around my eyes, the better I can see. Sun on your back, that's something I always factor in when I'm pulling up on a place to fish, especially on a calm day where I can go any direction I want. I'm always going to keep that sun on my back. I can see better in the water with the sun behind me, lighting everything up in front of me versus fighting the glare going towards it. A lot of the same stuff is like bed fishing. When you do get, and it doesn't have to be slick calm, just fairly calm. This pattern really doesn't it's not something you're going to do in like 3-4 footers. But when you have wind, I'm always going to put it on my back. It makes me move faster, cast further, fish quieter, and then a hydro wave. This is the time I use it the most, is when I'm cruising around shallow for smallmouth. It's doing a couple things for me. Smallmouths are a lot like house cats. They're just like super, super curious, sometimes really dumb, but very curious animals. So I'll keep that cranked up. That does a couple things for me. That'll actually call fish towards my boat, and it covers up a lot of noise if there is a little bit of chop and the boat's slapping or the spraying off the trolling motor or whatever. That keeps me a little more covered up. We'll talk about a couple different conditions. Mostly I'm going to focus on the summertime because that's when I feel like this pattern is the most overlooked. When it's spring, everybody's fishing shallow, right? Everybody's up on flats, throwing jerk baits, doing all that. Before the fish spawn, I want cloudy, windy weather. Those fish are kind of spooky up there. They're going to be shallow regardless of the weather. There's really no factor to it in the pre-spawn months. The wind plays a little bit of role with warmer temperature, water temperature and stuff where it ends up being, but I want cloudy, windy conditions when I'm fishing them shallow in the spring. But the summertime, when everybody's out in 20 feet of water drop shotting, there's a super overlooked pattern, fishing big ones up shallow. And when that's the case, when it's that time of year, I want that slick and sunny, like the hottest, calmest, you're sweating time of the year to get those fish up there. Places I like to look for them, and I put Google Earth on there. That's something I do a lot of, especially before I go up to a place, or even when I'm out pre-fishing. I keep an iPad in my boat. I do a lot of it off my phone, but you can see a lot, especially in these smallmouth places we go. The water's really clear, so that aerial image will show you a lot of stuff shallow. little sand spots. I mean, you can see rock piles, you can see shipwrecks, you can see lots of stuff in, 10 foot of water or less, because the water is so clear with these aerial photos. So that's something I do a lot of homework on. But, basically the shallow stuff I'm looking for, like the tops of humps, those are really, really good places to look, especially if they come up real shallow, like the ones that got the buoys on them, the ones you're going to tear your lower unit off if you run across, because those are places the fish can do everything in the summer months. That same fish might be out in 30 feet of water on the tip of the hump. One day you catch him on a drop shot and the conditions get right, he'll get up on top of that deal in 2-3 feet of water. You can see him swimming around. Sand drops. We go to some lakes that are, I think you got some lakes up here that are set up similar to that, where you got that long, like just sand flat coming out off the bank, and then it gets to the edge and just dumps into 20-30 feet of water. Does that sound familiar to you? No? You got no lakes like that? Okay. Well, if you ever do see that, that's a pretty good place to catch them too. Rock and sand transitions, I've noticed.
It's Mike Iaconelli. This is Bass U TV.
Here's what's awesome about Bass U TV.
You get the top instructors.
Real tools that help you catch more fish consistently.
And that's why you want to check out Bass U TV.
Join the Bass U family.
Welcome to Bass U TV.